Plaintiff Eric Friedman met the defendant when they were kids, and they became best friends. Eric claims he and the defendant eventually moved to Hollywood together, and the defendant started living the fast life and was hooking up with strippers. Yet he had to borrow Eric's sports car. Eric is suing for rent. Defendant Christian Pinchayara says when they first got to Hollywood, Eric was extremely shy and wanted Christian to introduce him to his Hollywood lifestyle. Christian claims he did his best to introduce Eric to a variety of women, and he insists Eric told him he didn't have to worry about the rent.
Prove your case.
Okay. Your Honor, the defendant and myself have been friends for over 20 years. At one point, we were best friends. I mean, we basically grew up together playing Little League Baseball. We played the same college fraternity together. We did all kinds of, great things. Till one day, he had this crazy idea for us both to move to Hollywood. And basically what happened was he got caught up in the whole fast life thing. I mean, this guy was going out all hours of the night. And basically, he was, hooking up with all kinds of, how should I say, seedy type of women, anything from strippers to you name it. But basically, he was doing all kinds of disrespectful things that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemies. I never had such a horrible roommate from hell. Basically, he would do all kinds of things from, going to my closet and borrow some of my...
Was he getting high? You don't want to tell that part, huh?
No, I don't want I'm not a rat.
You don't want to tell that part because you don't want to incriminate yourself.
Well,
you're talking all fast. You're already incriminating yourself.
Well, no, I don't do any of that stuff myself. No.
You don't. You sound like you.
No. I had a Red Bull. I had a Red Bull before I came out here.
A what?
A Red Bull.
Oh, a Red Bull.
Yeah.
All right. I knew something. You had something.
I
talking quick.
Love energy drinks. I just talk really fast because my family's from the East Coast.
All right.
That's just, how I am. Go ahead. Basically, he would do all kinds of disrespectful things, like go in my closet and borrow my shirts without asking me and take them out and, dance and sweat them up and do all kinds of, horrible things. And you figure he would have the decency to take them to, dry cleaners. But no, I basically, in the long run, I'd have to take it myself and pay to get it cleaned. And then he would do all kinds of things, like he was driving, a clunker at the time. And he would, do whatever with his women. He would, in the middle of the night, he would take my car, which was a nice sports car, and he would take it and pass it off as his own and drive them home. Basically, kind of
fronting.
Exactly, fronting, like a fraud. Exactly.
Perpetrate.
Exactly. And then, another example is that, he likes to cook, but he doesn't like to clean dishes. So dishes would pile up in the sink for, 2 weeks. And then what would happen is whenever people come over, instead of cleaning them, he'd hide them in the oven.
You're nasty too. You sit up there in the house with 2 weeks.
I'm not his maid. I'm not going to clean his dishes. I'm not.
You shouldn't sit up there and look at them. Something would have happened.
For a while I was, but then I got fed up with that, and it got to the point where just things were just getting out of hand.
Right, and you should have told him to leave.
I know I should have kicked him out, but we had a history together, and he was my best friend. And
did you all ultimately fall out?
Basically, yeah. We
over what?
Over him not paying rent.
Let me allow him to give some background. Sir?
First of all, that's an incredible story that he just presented to you.
Give me your side, Hollywood.
Well, first of all, my ex-buddy here, he came to me a long time ago and he told me, hey, I know I'm a shy guy. I'm not the most popular guy in the class. And he wanted to live a Hollywood-ish life, a life that I was,
you already part
living.
Of.
Well, I was a Hollywood club promoter, still am. I'm in charge of bringing people in and providing a good time, and I thought I was doing that for him. He would watch this show all the time, the show called Entourage on HBO. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Mm-hmm. Well, he always talked about it. He told me specifically that he wanted to live that life, and he would compare me to the characters.
Which one was he?
He was, the little guy, Turtle.
Oh,
yeah, he was more like the Turtle guy.
I'm not chubby. Come on.
Go ahead.
Well,
who was Vince? Now you were Vince. Huh? Some folks don't watch this. Tell them what Entourage is about.
Well, it's a show about the
actor, his agent, his manager.
Right. So the actor would have this entourage, this following, and he had women everywhere, and not just women, and it was about connections. we were quote unquote dialed up in the city of LA, which
and they would get all the trickle down.
Everything we wanted, we got
called trickle down.
Right.
When the star, that's what
anything we wanted.
I can't do anything. So all my buddies, they get my trickle down. They just hang around me. Judge, this is what I said. Well, they say, trickle down. That's what it's called. All his buddies get his trickle down.
Actually,
Go ahead.
I think I've seen you a couple times.
No, you haven't.
Oh, okay.
No, you haven't. Don't even try.
I thought I saw you. But
so you were a successful Hollywood promoter. He wanted to become a part of the Hollywood life,
and I brought that life to him. He, no offense. I mean, you lived a very conservative life, and I admire that. I wanted to live that sort of life, but I didn't have a choice, Judge. You're
talking pretty big right now. What about that clunker?
Well, I mean,
you had to borrow his sports car.
Oh, it wasn't that great of a car.
To go and stunt
and pick up the dates, and take him to the clubs. No, I mean, we were dialed in. He never had because of me, he never had to, wait in line.
What clubs you promote at?
I did the Century Club in Hollywood. I did the Key Club. I did the old Roxbury.
Key Club on Sunset. Century Club on Santa Monica.
That's where I saw you. I knew it.
No, I'm just telling you, I don't go to them.
I know
I have 4 children.
I know
and they're all over 21.
Right.
So, and I make them tell me where they're going. So I'm a good father. That's
cool.
how I know where those places are. And I follow them.
Yeah, I know.
And I run outside and I spy on them.
Make sure they're okay, right? Make sure they're not drinking.
Go ahead, sir. Tell me about the rent and why you're suing for that amount.
Okay, so basically, I always had a 9-to-5 job, and I had my own business at one point. And he had a regular 9-to-5. He's real lazy, and all he wanted to do, basically was sleep until 2 o'clock. He doesn't like waking up early and promote and throw private parties. So, basically, I would carry him. I'd pay the rent. I'd pay the rent in full in the beginning of the month, and then it got to the point where he couldn't pay it. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Pay me back at the end of the month.
What was the total amount per month?
The total amount per month was $1,542.
What months are you suing for?
February to it's February to July.
All right.
For 6 months.
Sir, did you fail to pay February through July?
Well, he told me not to pay.
No, I did. What are you talking about?
You said, I get it. Don't worry about it. You got all, I'm bringing all the action, quote unquote. So I would bring that life that he wanted. And I thought that I was providing a service, and that service costs money.
How does that make you exempt from paying rent? How does that make you exempt from paying rent?
Sir, if he's bringing all the women and the dope, what are you bringing? Are you paying? Are you paying for the dope or the women?
And the stripper pole was your idea, by the way.
What months are you suing for?
February to July.
February through July of what year?
Of 05.
05?
Yeah.
Why are you just not bringing it here?
Well, I mean, because I've been trying to. He keeps telling me he's going to pay me, and I'm like, okay, fine. I'll give you a little bit more time. And then, finally got to the point where I'm like, I'm never going to get the money back.
For 5 years?
I said I'd pay him. I never said when, I said I'd pay him, though.
When did you tell him you'd pay him?
I don't know, like 4 years ago. I never said I wouldn't.
Okay. He never breached the contract because he never said he wouldn't pay you. I was going to throw the case out based on the statute of limitations. And the statute of limitation begins when the contract is breached. He never breached it because he keeps telling you he's going to pay. So that means your lawsuit is still valid. Because by your own admission, you have not breached the contract. However, I suppose you think he is in the future? You think he's going to breach in the future?
Well, I don't think he's ever going to pay me, is what I said.
That means you think he's going to breach the contract in the future. So you're suing on the theory of what is called anticipatory breach of contract. And that is when a person has reason to believe someone is going to breach in the future, even though they haven't. And I think if a person doesn't pay you in 5 years, you have reason to believe that they're not going to pay you in the future. So based on that legal theory, sir, I'll grant you your judgment. All right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
I don't know what's going to happen. I do miss our friendship. I do.
I mean, I don't think I could ever trust this guy ever again. So, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, we'll have to talk things out and reassess and see, where it goes.